Consent, sort of like when I went to your.
All right.
Start.
Fairly close, I think.
He is, but I just.
We'll go ahead.
Recording in progress.
Started. Recording. We'll call to order the meeting, State Board of Appraisers, Abstractors, and Home Inspectors. Thank you everybody for being here. We don't have any guests today, so we'll go right to the roll call.
Michael Graffino.
Here.
Sarah Hawkins.
Here.
Brian Hester.
Here.
Wally Lovelace. Julie Matthews.
Here.
Scott McKinnon.
Here.
Matthew Mueller, sorry. Sarah Stevens.
Here.
Daniel Storling.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We will, I guess we need to vote on Wally, his absence being excused.
Can we table it?
Until
If he doesn't show up, then we can.
Yes, I was just going to say, forgive me, I said we didn't have any guests, but we do by Zoom. Melissa Bond and the Dennis Badger. Thank you guys for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
I'm still trying to figure out what Dennis's avatar is.
We like your avatar, Dennis.
It's a bad.
I am under the weather, so my apologies.
Hopefully we had a chance to look at the meeting agenda. I will entertain a motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And same thing with the approval of the board minutes from the September 19th meeting. So
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We'll move to the committee reports. The Education Committee, Sarah Stevens.
Okay. We have a light venue this morning. Certainly less to work with than we had in the past, but I'm sure it's going to pick up since next year is an education year, and we're going to be seeing more and more questions and more and more applications, I think, for classroom situations. First one we want to look at is on the appraiser side, American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. Appraising ag facilities. It's a equine seminar, and they're asking for 8 hours of CE. I've reviewed the material and, the information that was submitted, and I would recommend that we approve that seminar.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The next one is from, Calypso, and it's the new UAD Appraisers Guide, 7 hours of CE. Francis Finnegan is going to be the instructor. Looked over that material, and, I would also, recommend that we approve that submission, that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we're approving that. The next is from Dennis Badger and Associates, Valuation Bias and Fair Housing Laws and Regulations. And Dennis is asking for 7 hours of CE. My only question about that was, that 7 hours is simply for continuing education. And in the, information about the valuation bias and fair housing, seminars, there is, a carve out for people who want to take the exam, who are going to be upgrading. I didn't see any application here for the 8 hours, so I'm assuming the 7 hour CE is it. And we'll talk about proving that. I read through the material, recommending that we approve. So do I have a motion?
I'm a little leery of those instructors.
Yeah. Had to look hard at that CV,
Yeah.
that CV for each one of those.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're approving that in evaluation bias and fair housing. Green Mountain e-learning, it's online, NewsPack advisory opinions 1837, market conditions and data analysis. It's for 5 hours of CE, Keith Wolf. Gone through the material, it's appropriate, recommend that we approve. To have a motion.
So moved.
Second. Anybody? Okay. All right, any discussion? All in favor? That's great. And finally, Melissa Bond, submitting for 7 hours of CE, UAD form 3.6. I've gone through the material, recommending that we approve. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments?
I do.
Okay.
Do you know when, and where those classes will be yet, Melissa?
Yes, actually, I'm setting that up as we speak. I've been working on that this morning. It's going to be in Little Rock. I am searching for a conference center now, and I really mean as we speak. I'm working on it.
All right. Well, I'll just message you later.
And that would be January 20, I think it's January 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. No, January 23rd.
What you gonna do that in Northwest Arkansas?
Well, I was going to, but I didn't. Okay, thank you.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Guess we need a vote. Sorry. That's all right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approved. The next one is an individual appraiser credit. Patty Thomason asking, firstly, she's asking for 2 things. So I'd like to cover these in 2 different discussions. The first is request for 4 hours of CE from relocation appraisers and consultants at their annual conference. And this one is litigation for appraisers. Now, this took place the day before the big conference started, okay? And going through the material, looking at the information that she provided, and then, along with Sarah, checking out to be sure that it was approved and we did have the information correctly, stated. I'd like to, recommend that we approve the 4 hours of CE for the litigation for appraisers.
So moved.
All right, any discussion?
Ever had this before, or anybody first on this class?
First time. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the second one is for a request for 14 hours of CE. Same person, same situation. However, this is for days 2 and 3 of the conference that she attended. This is a hard one. Been through, and Sarah had her help. We've tried to ascertain if these hours were classroom hours, if they were hours spent at just seminars. We can't just say that this is actually CE. You don't know if this was attendance at a seminar or actually attendance at a CE class. There was a statement on the back of the flyer that she sent, and it said that it had been approved in Texas and Colorado. Sarah tried to verify that. I tried to verify. Diana tried to verify, but we could not. So I am really kind of in a poor situation here in terms of being in good conscience able to say that I recommend this. I'm not sure that this was all classroom. It may be part classroom and part just convention. So for that reason, and because we have really tried hard to be very careful about what we approve from this kind of situation, from these series of conventions, etc., I'm going to ask that we not approve the 14 hours of CE.
Do you think, I know you've thought about this, but something less than 14, could you live with that?
Scott, I think the problem there would be a precedent. And we're going to have more and more applications for this kind of CE because these groups, the professional groups, are all pushing their professional conferences. They're big money, big efforts. And, you know, a lot of them are destination oriented. And so it's really hard for me to say and there was very little backup, very little support or credit for this particular time. My thought is this, and maybe this will kind of answer your question. If Ms. Thompson comes back to us and asks about the denial and is able to come up with more information for us, then I wouldn't be opposed at all to a relook. We've invested a lot of time and a lot of effort in doing this, but I want to be fair to all of the people who apply in similar situations. And I do think we make the effort to do that. We also make the effort to be sure that what we say about the classes that we are approving or not approving is substantiated. And so
What did Texas and Colorado say?
we've looked at their online list. It's not there.
I make a motion, we deny the 14 hours.
Have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion?
I just ask, like, most of these seminar type things, you have no idea if the people are actually in the class, giving the seminar or not, right?
That's right.
And we don't know that about this one.
That's right.
She did, but,
That's right.
So attendance is not taken or anything.
No, well, on that first one, the 4 hours, it was, and there was a completion certificate with the material. And that's why I had no problem once I looked through the material saying, okay. But, again, I don't want to be arbitrary. I don't want the board to be arbitrary in what they do. I think that we need to be sure that we support what we say, that it's been well thought out and well researched. And that's why I'm saying the 14 hours. I would recommend that we deny that credit. But yes, Brian, that's true. And I think that as things have loosened up and, we're not in a COVID situation, we're going to see more and more people who are going to be, especially in an education year, asking us for CE credit. And, we've pretty well got our process down, what we look for. And so, to answer your question, yeah,
You do a great job.
very much. I couldn't tell. I couldn't do it for us, Sarah.
I interrupted you again. We had a motion in a second.
All right,
We're ready for the vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our next one is qualifying education and course approval for the home inspectors. First one is the Arkansas Home Inspector Institute, 80 hours of CE. Been through the material with them. We had to send this back a couple of times to get the hours straightened out, but we did get it straightened out. When they say they're looking at 80 hours of qualifying education, then we need to see 80 hours. And we didn't. And so after a couple of resubmissions and Sarah's diligence and stay after it, we got that done. And so I would recommend that we give that 80 hours credit, 80 hours of qualifying education credit for this particular course. All right, do I have a second? Any discussion, questions? All in favor? Yep. The next is from Inspection Certification Associates, and it's an 80-hour qualifying education, a pre-registration class, 80 hours of CE, same information in terms of our diligence or due diligence on this particular thing, and looking over the material and getting the 80 hours knocked out. I would recommend that we accept. Do I have a motion? Second. Okay. Any discussions? All right, and we approve that. Okay. Home inspector instructional approval. This is a American Home Inspectors training, asking for our approval of a new instructor, submitted his qualifications, looked through them, verified a couple of the things that he said, and I would say that my recommendation is that we approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay, any discussion? No.
Go back and
All right.
say 80 hours. Yes.
Okay. The 80 hours. Okay, let's get this one voted for the instructor, and then we'll go back. All in favor?
Aye.
Any denials? Okay, so we're going to approve that instructor. And I'm sorry, my bad. Thank you, Aaron, for catching that on number A. I think we had a motion in a second, and we had no discussion. And so all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, finally, home inspector individual credit. This was a late submission, but we had went through the material. This is for Steve Comer, looking for 40 hours of credit. Actually, I think Donna said that he only really needs 4. But
We
this
have
is-
number 2, not to interrupt, but weren't we at number 2?
It's just
it?
Yeah. No problem.
Was that just one CE on that one?
Number 2,
Yes.
no, it's just for the instructor.
Just the
Yeah,
instructor.
we have to do the instructor as well as the
Okay.
class. Okay. And usually, Sarah, just quantification, we usually do it when we get a class. If we have an instructor, we usually do it all together. Yeah, all right. And so now to number 3, if there's no more questions, this is an individual credit application for 40 hours. How to inspect septic systems. It's taken back in January. Looking through the material, I see no reason why we shouldn't approve. It's good. So I need a motion. Second. Any discussion?
This come close to being old issues.
No more. However, I will say that in terms of the septic system, I don't think that we're required to inspect the home. Usually you call somebody in who does the septic system. Right. So this is something that, this person is doing for himself and his business.
40 hours of learning about septic. That's real fun.
I watched it that too.
Barely
hours yesterday trying to find one, so.
Except his hands on drain.
That would be it. Okay, so we have voted. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Right. Well, thank you very much, and I would just like to say to all of you that Sarah and Susie have just been absolutely wonderful with your help. We certainly couldn't have the kind of look at the classes and courses and instructors that we have without them and their diligence and their willingness to, if I send something back, try to look it up and figure it out, help me figure it out. So this would not be the system and the process we have without staff, and I appreciate it very much. I want y'all to know I do. And I want y'all to know on board that we couldn't do it without
The education committee will move on to G, the financial committee report. Sarah Hawkins.
The financials to be read for today's meeting, $2,159,238.10. I recommend we entertain a motion to accept these financials.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Moving on to the staff reports. Investigator report.
Okay, for the appraiser division, the investigators report on October the 8th, we looked at some jurisdiction on case 251163. There's just errors and omissions there. There was no jurisdiction in that case. In cases 1164 through 1167, the board, we found violations, potential violations of use cap, and the board does have jurisdiction on those cases. And that is the appraiser report, with the exception of we do have quite a few cases that Dennis, Mr. Badger is helping with right now. We're working on those, and I'm expecting to have some more cases for us to look at to move along here by the next board meeting. So with that, sir, do you want to get that one? We have this discussion every day, every board meeting, but you ratify that one now, so.
We ratify that
Now.
Okay. You take a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Home inspectors.
With the home inspectors report, we have several cases to go through. We met on October the 22nd. We had a number of cases for jurisdiction and a few more cases for probable cause. For case 250086, the allegations were understating needed repairs, and the recommendation is that there's no jurisdiction. The complainant did not submit a home inspection report. 250092, there were crawl space issues. The committee voted that we had jurisdiction in that matter. 250093 is understating needed repairs. No jurisdiction. This home inspector was not licensed with the board at the time to prepare the home inspection report. On case 250094, there were flooring issues. The committee voted for jurisdiction. 0095, there were plumbing issues. In this case, the complaint was regarding a sewer scope, which falls outside of the board's jurisdiction. The committee said we had no jurisdiction in this matter. On case 250096, there were drainage issues, and the committee members determined we do have jurisdiction in that matter. We heard several cases for probable cause. In case 240075, the allegations were standards of practice and code of ethics violations. The committee recommends a consent agreement in which the respondent must complete 8 hours of in-person education, inspection, report writing and risk reduction, 3 hours, report writing basics to ballistics, 3 hours, and standards of practice and code of ethics, 2 hours, none of which can be counted towards continuing education. After completion of the required education, the home inspector must provide the board with 2 reports from paid inspections for review. Required education and report submittal is to be completed by June 30th of 2026. On case 250094, there were standards of practice violations. The committee recommends a corrective action agreement. Respondent must complete 3 hours of in-person education, report writing basics to ballistics, which cannot be counted towards CE. Required education is to be completed by June 30th of 26. Case 250085, the allegations are errors and omissions. The committee recommends dismissed with caution. Reports needed to include properly described benefits with documentation regarding where all events exhausted. Reports also need to include documentation on arc fault circuit interrupters. The final report for the home inspectors has to do with the insurance suspensions. We had 7 home inspectors that did not provide current certificates of insurance. On case COI 25001004, they didn't provide their certificate of insurance. We recommend the consent agreement. At this point, on all 3 of these, 1004, 1005, and 1008, the respondents received their letters from us, and they have signed their consent agreements, agreed to pay the $250, and I'm just asking that the board ratify the consent agreements in those cases. In the other cases, 2 home inspectors have asked to appear before the board because they don't feel that it's fair to charge them $250. And then 1 gentleman we've not been able to get in contact with. So what I'm asking you at this point is only to ratify the decision of the consent agreement for these 3. The others will follow in the next board meeting. And that is the home inspector report, sir.
Thank you. Get a motion to approve.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Brian, I have a question. How many home inspectors total up do we know who did not have a current certificate of insurance? We know how many?
Well, there's 4 pending right now, right, that we know of. That's it. Laura, and it's going through, she's very good, and she's going through these as the dates come up. And so she's getting the letters out because, we give 30 days before we suspend them. So at this point, the only ones, we've gotten letters out to everyone except for these 4 people. And in each case, I think, yes, and in each case, their 30 days are not up. But 2 of them have already told us that they want to appear before the board. They want a hearing. There's really only 1 that I know of other than these 2 that will be, and we will suspend them on Monday when their days are up. Until.
If we as a board come up with $250,
Yes.
we did.
Yeah.
So out of the totality of the home inspector population, Only 4 so far.
Only 4 that we know of that do not have current COIs on. Oh, and I think that the difference on these 2 people that we're hearing, they've given us now their certificate of insurance. So those 2 have insurance, so there's only 2. Oh,
So correct me if I'm wrong, this is nothing new. We are just kind of taking a little bit of a stance to enforce it a little better in years past.
absolutely, that's the problem. We're now enforcing it on a regular basis and asking them to do what the statute says they're supposed to be, that they should have been doing all along. So that we're not,
This is nothing new.
this is nothing new.
So how much do they pay, or does it vary?
It varies, because I couldn't, I mean, some of them, because this is now for the professional liability, their general liability is their problem. But for the professional liability, it runs, the cheapest I've seen though is around $1,000.
I've always carried it. That was my personal opinion. I've always carried it. I've always been a professional, not just a liability. So that was just a business choice.
Yeah, most of the pre-registration classes are telling you to get both of these no matter what's required to cover you. It's just. So it's,
Smart business.
yeah, it's wise.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
On that, that one, we're gonna letter B, the director's report.
And that will be very short this time as well. As we all know and love, Larry Disney has decided to step away from doing work with us. So Mr. Badger, Dennis Badger, has stepped up, and we're using him for everything, just for both our upgrade interviews and our disciplinary cases. And we appreciate him very, very much. As speaking of Mr. Badger and the bias class that we just approved, I have, at the recommendation of one of the board members, I went to the department and asked, appraisers by their June 30th renewal for my licensed and certified, and by their December 31st, 26 renewal for my trainees and my state registered appraisers will need to complete the valuation bias class. So I went to the department and I said, I think it would be a really good thing if we offered a bias class, evaluation bias class, to meet that 7-hour requirement for board members, because it's something that we all need to be aware of. We get a few bias complaints, but we all need to be reminded of bias and how it can exist when we don't really realize that there will be any bias. So the board, the ADLL has agreed to have Mr. Badger teach. He's coming back to visit with us again in March for our March board meeting. So when he comes in the day before that board meeting, we will be having a bias class if you guys would like to do so. Now, for the home inspectors around, what I would strongly like to do and recommend is that we approve it for CE for you as well, because we can, because it's a class you guys need to be better home inspectors as well. I recommend everybody take it. So that you count that 7 hours towards your 14-hour CE requirement and have as many of the board members present as possible. The department will bear the cost of the class. Dennis is working out an agreement with us to teach it just for us. So the department will bear the cost. I couldn't pay any mileage or anything for you guys to come in. What I would like to ask is the board buy box lunches for everybody from across the street so that we can come in and just have, get the class started early, have the class, and maybe eat while we learn, have a lunch and learn, kind of eat while you're learning, take a short break for lunch and eat, and maybe get you out of here a little bit earlier. But I would like to know the board's pleasure on that. Would you like to have a evaluation box class for us?
I definitely think so, and I'd like to take it one step further. Appraiser and home inspector are sometimes paired up on complaints, and we're going to start seeing more for these type of complaints. So I would like to say it's not a choice. I think all of us need to take it.
I think we could probably get the real estate commission to give Wally credit as well. I mean, that's always a possibility. So,
I just think it's no.
Hey, Sarah, what do you think about what I just said?
No, I plan to be here, so I'm in favor.
I'm in favor of.
Yeah, I think,
yeah, breezy.
What, Michael?
yeah, now that the board is combined, we're going to see more and more of us being married or together, just because of the nature of the board now. And so I think it's extremely important that all of our training probably coincide with each other.
I think it's a wonderful idea. And I also think that it says a lot about the direction the board's going. It says a lot about professionalism. And, you know, it's the kind of thing where I agree with Michael. We're going to see more and more complaints, more and more instances where the information that we have is going to be very critical to the decisions that we make. And I think that the more information we have, the more that we can hold out to the public and to the people that we are working with, that we've done these things. I think the better off we're going to be. This is going to be a big education year. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, just like the UAD business. It's new, it's different, and we need to have a little foothold there in terms of being able to go to some of the hearings that we do and say, well, you know, I've been to the training here, tell me what you're doing. So I just think it's just part of being a professional, part of being a board member and assuming the responsibilities that we charge for.
I'll make a motion to approve your request.
Okay. Second.
Second.
I don't want to say have to, I want to encourage all board members.
Vote on that. Second. That's
All in favor?
Aye. That's you. Did we have a second?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and the next thing, there's in your packet of materials today, there's an exposure draft. That's an appraisal exposure draft. It involves some issues that I thought the board members might like to be aware of. You're more than welcome to send any comments that you have to the foundation as well. That is in there for your reading pleasure. And I wanted to let everyone know that renewals for both home inspectors and trainee appraisers is going just like expected. Everything is going really well this year. Very pleased with everyone embracing the ELP system. That's moving along well. And finally, I'm going to have to change, you know, occasionally I like to, you know, talk about North Carolina. We have, my feelings towards North Carolina have changed. The appraisal subcommittee has assigned us a new policy manager. So we have a new policy manager, and Tom Lewis is our policy manager. He's from North Carolina, and we love North Carolina now. But he wanted to let me know, to let you guys know, that he will be here October the 27th through the 29th of 2026 for our compliance review. Yay! So anyway, you'll need to mark out those dates. I'll send them to you as soon as it gets a little bit closer and we set all of our board meeting dates for next year. But that is my report today, Mr. Chair.
John, may I ask a question?
Of course.
You know, and this is kind of a comment. We have an education year coming up. We had use path that's required again. And just kind of as an FYI, I signed up for use path, okay? This year, you have to buy all of your materials from the foundation. You no longer buy your materials from your provider. The cost of those materials was about $125 in addition to the use tax class, which was $145. And I'm just wondering if it might behoove us to give our appraisers a little bit of a heads up in terms of, you're gonna see, this is gonna be a big money year for a lot of people in terms of expenses. And just to let them know that this stuff's coming and they need to sign up, and it wasn't our idea. And this is just part of how the foundation has kind of turned and where we're going with it. Because this is absolutely, we've always had our materials included in the cost of the material of the class, but they've always come to us through our provider, and they're not doing that anymore. And so I just think it would be, again, a show on our part from the board to say, just FYI. And in that FYI, not only talk about the new use pack requirements and materials, but also talk about the bias and what's expected, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what people have to do to get this bias class going. And also about the UAD and, you know, just to get everybody on the same page. I think, again, as part of our board, our responsibility.
Absolutely. It's, Susie and I will get something out next week that to everyone, to all the appraiser members or the appraiser population, particularly the licensed and certifieds, and I guess the trainees will need it as well, so we can get it out to everyone. What I'd also like to do is maybe go a step further on that, though, and I didn't realize that the reference guide was needed until Sarah and I talked. I didn't realize you had to buy the reference guide to get credit for the use pipe class. And we always buy materials for the board members, so I will go ahead and get an order placed this next week for the class book and for the reference material books and a few more copies of the 24 use pipe, just so all of my board members have got everything that they need in order to take the class as well. We'll go ahead and try to get those ordered through the foundation.
Yeah, and just to show you, you know, the class material, 45 pages. Back and forth. That's 45 pages. The bulk of what you order is the new 2026 use pad. It's got the frequently asked questions and all that stuff in it. And so, you know, again, I think we'll see a lot of people sharpen their pencils and say, you know, am I going to do it? Am I going forward with this? I have to make a decision by June 30th. So, and I don't know, they didn't say how with a synchronous class, they're going to verify and be sure that you have this material and they're going to hold it up or something. But anyway, I thank you for doing that because I think it's important that our folks know.
Moving on to number 9, old business. The search for the home inspector contract investigator is ongoing. We have met and whittled it down to a few that we're going to interview, and those interviews are scheduled for, right now, all but one are scheduled for next Friday. Is that correct? And so we're going to do those interviews and hopefully get our I wouldn't say man, but we don't have to go a man, or men. So, okay. We'll have to ratify that or anything. No. New business. Board meeting dates for year 26 are listed there: January 16th, March 20th, May 15th, July 17th, September 18th, November 20th. All these are on the third Friday of the month. Just want to say, I don't want to vote it, but moving on to another B, the legislative audit, did you want to say something about that, or was it approved it?
On the legislative audit, I'll say quickly, there's a copy of the audit finding, well, the audit and the supplemental and written findings in your material. As far as the department goes, though, the assessment procedures did not disclose instances of non-compliance considered reportable. So as a department, we had no written findings, which was cue the band. We were very pleased with that. If you go back and read some of the supplementals, we weren't on the verbal, but if you look at the supplementals, were mentioned a couple of times. The department wasn't upset about anything that was on there. We do as good a job as we possibly can. There's probably always room for improvement. We were on there a couple times because there were a few times I didn't cross the T's and dot the I's appropriately, but no money was stolen, so we're all good. But I do need we have to have a vote that you guys have reviewed and approved it.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to letter C, the appraiser upgrade interview process. That is Mr. Sporley, Daniel.
Yes. Yeah, so at the last board meeting, the secretary asked us to review our process to make sure there weren't any roadblocks or speed bumps in the process. And as was said in the board meeting, most of our requirements are, almost all of our requirements are national standards we have to follow. The one exception is the interview process. So I asked Diana's staff to put together a summary of actually just a quick spreadsheet of how many interviews we have and how many are successful or unsuccessful. And fortunately for us, the data revealed that we're right where we should be. I think it was 87% pass the test, or pass the interview and go on to take the test. So I was just curious to where, per the secretary's direction, if that was an area of improvement. As it turns out, we're doing what I feel is the correct process. So the data revealed there was nothing there, like the test. We can't change the test, so it is what it is. So anyway, that was what I found, and I thank the staff for putting together those numbers, that data. So that's all I had.
Thank you, Daniel. That's a good number. I didn't know.
It was interesting. Before we move forward, do you want to deal with Wally's absence?
Need to vote to approve or to not approve Wally's absence for this meeting.
I make a motion that's unexcused.
Second. I guess he was a no call, no show.
No call, no show.
Move to other business and the election of officers for 2026.
I'd like to put my name as chairman.
I would too.
So we're at number 1, the chair. Nominations for the chair for the coming year. So we have Scott McKinnon. Sarah. Anybody else? Okay. Not sure how to do this. So we vote within.
Aaron.
I think you would take it separately. So have a motion to vote for Scott first, and then a motion to vote for Sarah second.
With them in the room or out?
So can I ask a question? So Sarah, if you were voted in as chairman, how would that affect her role as reviewing our education process? It would not.
She wouldn't, we've never made it a hard fast in any sort of policy, but it's always been that the vice chair is the one that deals with education.
Any questions or comments for you guys? Okay, so I guess we will just go to, all in favor of Scott McKinnon as president? Aye.
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 2, 4, 5.
Daniel?
Yeah, yes, aye.
Okay. So that 6, did I come correctly? And, move to all in favor, Sarah Stevens? Okay. So we'll vote to, 6-2, was chairman, the Scott McKinnon.
Thank y'all. Now I make a motion that Sarah continues as vice chair.
Any other? Okay. All in favor, Sarah Stevens?
Aye.
Aye. And then, nomination for treasurer.
I nominate Sarah Hawkins.
Second.
You okay with that? So Sarah Hawkins has been nominated for treasurer. Anybody else? Motion, or all in favor?
Aye.
Sarah Hawkins is treasurer. Okay. Thank you, guys. That's all. Then all we need to do on that, right?
That's it.
Okay. Our next board meeting date will be January 16th at 10 a.m. So hopefully everybody can be here as well. Other than that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Are we gonna go straight into interviews or the interviews after lunch?
We are adjourned. Can you kill the recording?
Yeah.
Recording stopped.
I think ours starts at 12:30.
Yes.
Our first one.
Yes.
Sarah, you and I will do, right?
And no one's standing here.
Okay.
Sarah and I.
You,
Ryan, right now?
Labor conference, which is not the corner.
I saw they were having a meeting in there.
Yes.
They beat me to it. Yes, please, we're done.
Bye.
Diane.